Welcome to Behind Olivia O. Today we have the pleasure of chatting with cast member Samuele Galli, who is in the ensemble and also understudying the role of Guy Madden in the Toronto Fringe Festival production of Olivia O the musical. Hi Samuel, how are you?
Good. How are you? Excited to be
Good.
here.
I'm so excited to get to do this with you. So, to get us started, could you share a little bit about yourself and your background in theater?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, as you said, my name is Samuele. I'm an actor and also a screenwriter. Um, I come from Italy, a small, very small town in Italy. And my background in theater and acting is anything but linear. I mean, I used to love theater since I was a kid, and I studied for a couple of years while I was in high school. I studied theater, but you know, being like the first trans kid in my hometown, basically, and from a working class family, as I grown up, I didn't really have the space for artist stuff. And after high school, I didn't get the chance to study acting, So I had to focus on other stuff. So uh, I put that thing on hold for some time, but I'm so happy that in like 5 years I went back to it all the way. So I went to an academy in Milan, and I started again acting and doing this wonderful job that I love. And now I'm here, so that's great.
Wow, what an incredible journey and like the countries that it's taken you to. Like it's so crazy. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
So when did you first fall in love with theater and what really inspired you to become a performer?
So that's a funny story because I think the first time that I fall in love with the theater, I was like 8 or 9 years old. At my school, they were doing this small production of the town musician of Bremen, and it was not a North American school production. In Italy, it's very small stuff. Everyone was very casual about it. Uh, but I became obsessed. I wanted so much to do the dog part, but I didn't get it. They choose another kid to do it. So but I was really obsessed. So during the rehearsal, I nobody told me to do it, but I learned by myself all the lines, all the songs, all the movement of the dog anyway, because I loved it so much. And then when there was the day of the show, the kid got sick. Yeah, and I was there, and I was so excited and everything, and I was so happy to do it. So was very nice moment in my life. Maybe not so much for my classmates who got sick, but
Look at you, crazy understudy. That's like a crazy understudy story. And look at you now. You're understudying in Olivia O.
yeah, yeah, that's crazy.
Wow, that's so crazy. And I mean like the passion that you had for it to just, go and learn it even though you didn't get the part. Like that speaks volumes. Wow. Wow. So what about Olivia O made you say, I want to be part of this? And why did you feel the need to tell this important story?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we all see the news, right? So in this world right now that is so crazy and dark, I think that's like as artists, the most important things we can do is really tell stories that make the difference. Tell story that for people who doesn't have a voice, who can't tell the stories. So I think it's very important for us to create art that inspire people, that gives other perspective, that challenge what is the power perspective, and also produce something that make people angry, and be able have the right to be angry and say that's enough. Let's have to stop.
Yeah, I think the most beautiful thing about this show is that it reflects what's going on in the real world
Yeah.
now. And I feel like there's nothing like theater and using theater as a medium for social change. And, like you said, making the audience feel angry and making them feel uncomfortable, and having that experience of sitting with it and being like, not only are you seeing this in a theater, but you're seeing this in the reality in the real world that you actually live in, and using our work and this musical as a way to kind of protest that and show the world that this is how we prevail and this is how things become better, and telling the story that people are actually going through that may not be spotlighted on the news or in the world. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
So, what are you most looking forward to about being in the ensemble and understudying the role of Guy in Olivia O and getting to see the story from various perspectives?
I feel incredibly grateful because being able to approach his work for a broad perspective is very important for me. Also, not coming from a classical background in musical theater, I'm so happy to be able to, contributing to the creation of the ensemble and be able to observe my colleagues' work and to learn and be directed and put myself at the service of this creation, this work. And I'm also very curious to see Guy come to life, to see other colleagues' work, and to create my own version of him. I think it's a beautiful character, and I feel very close to him. So
Yeah, that's my favorite thing about understudies and swings and standbys and getting to see people create the role for themselves. Like, even though there is an actor who is in that role, they also do that role, and, being given the same script, the same words, the same songs, but seeing how two different people do the same thing so differently is just such a beautiful thing about theater that I feel like no other art really gives you. And it's so beautiful as an audience member to get to see that.
that's true.
Yeah. So, what excites you most about performing at the Toronto Fringe Festival?
Well, man, Fringe is an institution.
Yeah.
Everyone knows about Fringe. Also in Europe, it's very famous with the Scottish one. Um, so I'm so grateful being in Toronto for less than a year and be able to participate in such a festival. It's a blast, And then I think I love Fringe Festival because it's a truly democratic festival. Brings really the art of the people, and be everyone is able to tell their story, to create art. So I can't wait to really fully experience Toronto vibes, underground theater scene. I'm so excited.
I know I'm so excited to get to introduce you to like what theater is like in Toronto and to get to see how different it is from what you've done like in Italy and in Europe, and kind of to get to pick your brain on that. I'm excited for that too, just for our team as well. It's going to be so cool to hear your perspective on that. And when you think about audiences seeing Olivia O, what are you most excited for them to experience?
I think something like, that feeling, that waves that creates when you're experiencing something uh, so moving and so collective. So something that really bonds together the emotion, that creates that palpable feelings of electricity connecting people together. It's like feeling that you're part of something larger, no, something that can change stuff.
Yeah. Being part of something bigger than yourself is such a cool experience. Like, one of my favorite quotes is, being a part of something special makes you special. And I think that's something that I've seen so much with this show is, getting to tell this important story. It becomes a part of you, and that just makes you such a special person to get to advocate for this story both on stage and off. Yeah.
That's true.
So, what does being part of this show mean to you personally? Because I know you're an immigrant yourself.
Yeah, yeah, I am not in such a difficult situation as Mexican in US, for sure. um I mean, it's so important just to be able to tell a story from different perspective, like I was saying. Being here in North America as an Italian, I truly realize that sometimes it's difficult, like there is social awkwardness. Not sometimes you don't. It's not your, even if you can speak English well or good enough, it's not your first language. So really cannot express yourself as the way you used to in Italian, no, for me, or in
Yeah.
another language. And so you feel sometimes powerless and you feel alone and away from home. And sometimes people don't understand why you have to live. I mean, of course, I don't live in a country uh, where situation is so bad. But for me, as a queer person, right now, Italy is not in a good situation politically. There is a very government of right wing, very straight right wing, very anti-LGBT community. So I didn't have to leave because somebody was putting a gun in my head. But for me to be able to be a queer artist, yeah, kind of. So, you know, it's important to be able to tell the story, even if it's far from mine. But it's resonate. I think it resonate with a lot of people.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your story and for, being so passionate about telling this story. And I'm so curious to know what's something that you hope the audience will take away from this story.
I mean, I really hope that people go out of the theater feeling that they can change things, that there is a possibility of something different. Um, there is a possibility to challenge the injustice of the world. And I really hope they live with that momentum and that fire to help build a new world, a different kind of world.
Yeah, just like the finale, the title of the show for the final song to Weave the World. And I
Hmm.
think it's so special to see how, throughout our rehearsal process and throughout just reading this script, you see the story come full circle and you see them weaving the world at the end. And I think the next step is for us to weave that world and make it better and to leave it better than we found it.
Absolutely.
So, how has being part of Olivia O inspired you as a performer?
Well, I think that coming a lot from on-camera work in these past years. I mean, on-camera work can feel quite lonely sometimes, quite
Yeah.
uh, you know
Yeah.
um, detached in some way. Uh, Not always. Sometimes there are projects that it's more compelling. There are more compelling, but usually theater is different. So, and especially theater of this kind of you know theater of this kind, like where is really community building, where you're telling stories that matters and that are important. I think it really connected me again with that joy of creating together, of collective resistance, and that's important.
Yeah. So last but not least, if you could sum up the show in one word, what word would it be and why?
Oh, it's difficult. Just one word.
I
Uh,
know, I'm sorry.
I think maybe it would be resistance.
Yeah. Yep. That's great. Do you want to expand on that a little bit and why you chose that?
I mean, because in the show, I don't know if I can say that. I think yes.
Yeah, you can.
It's really, I think that it's particularly inspiring to see when people don't give up. They There is this character that, I mean, she really doesn't know this girl, and even though the power tells her there's nothing to do, go home, forget about it, she won't. She resists the impulse of what is more comfortable, what is more easier, uh, and also the other character resisting what a society is telling them that it's easier or
Yeah.
convenient.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful answer. Thank you so much, Samuel, for being here and for the passion and care you bring to Olivia O. And thank you to everyone for tuning in to Behind Olivia O. We can't wait for you to experience the show, and we'll see you at the 2026 Toronto Fringe Festival.
Yeah, for sure.